How we doing, everybody? It is officially football time. I don't know about you guys, but I'm super stoked. We're actually recording this episode on Sunday, so a bulk of the games have already finished. Just wanted to get this out of the way and just get some of that excitement done before we jumped on here and record with you guys. Super excited, even though my team has officially lost. Still excited, man. Like, it's football. I got the Sunday ticket from YouTube, not a sponsor. Man, yeah, not yet, man. And I got like 4 games going at one time. Red zone. I mean, it was just a great day. I was super pumped and super excited. Now we get to come on here and chat about some of the football games with you guys. I couldn't be more excited for it. Mike, I'm betting you're pretty excited too.
Sure am. I mean, look, they say Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year. I disagree. It is all of football season. So, including Christmas, but from September all the way through into January, February, best time of the year. Super stoked. Yeah, Eagles ended up winning today. Well, we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later, but just super pumped that football's here. Super pumped that the Eagles did win.
Yes, sir. All right. So today's episode, I know we said we're recording after the bulk of the games are done on Sunday, but we're just going to give you some real quick couple of highlights, kind of some main takeaways we got from the games today. So one or two apiece. But we're going to focus the bulk of today's show just talking about the season opener, right? Thursday night football, Chiefs, Lions. It's the start of the season. We wanted to take more of a deep dive into that game, give you our takes on the game, kind of what we saw coming out of it. We'll touch on a little bit what we think is going to happen in the New York Buffalo game coming up. And then, of course, we're going to end the show with a little bit of a test Mike's brain, see if his brain's still working after all the excitement from the season kicking off today.
Definitely still not working.
So hot takes, or I guess not really a hot take, but just like takes overall from the start of the season, most of week one's in the bag. I got some good ones here that I wanted to touch on, but we'll go ahead and let Mike go first because I'm guessing we're both gonna have one of the same ones. So we'll see where he starts. What was
Okay.
one thing that you're taking away from the game so far?
Yeah, so the big one that I really wanted to kind of focus in on, and this was even part of my hot take from a couple weeks ago, is Kansas City, man. Like, this team on offense without Travis Kelsey, this offense is just it doesn't look the same. They look like a very middle of the pack, very average kind of an offense. They don't have any real wide receivers. They don't have any real weapons, and they don't really have that strong of a run game, man. And so for me, when you lose Travis Kelsey, and then when they lost Tyreek Hill a couple of years ago, they've done nothing to replace them. And I'm going to lay a lot of that at the feet of Brett Veach, the GM. Look, Mahomes is taking a discount of sorts, right? He's on a 10-year contract where that contract in another 6 years from now is going to look like he's probably like the 15th highest paid player in the league, and they're struggling to get anybody. Like, I don't know how they're doing that. I don't know what the issue is, but the D tackle Chris Jones is holding out. They don't have a true number one wide receiver, and then with Kelsey being out, this team just looks very, very average. And so I'm feeling pretty good about my hot take about the Chiefs maybe not making the AFC Championship this game this year if they can't keep all of their weapons healthy for the entire rest of the season.
Mike starting out with a Chiefs Lions Thursday night take. I'm gonna actually look into a Sunday game. We're gonna look at the Falcons Panthers game. Now, obviously, the Falcons win that game.
Yep.
They split a lot of the carries, a lot more than maybe I thought they were going to.
Yeah.
Bijan looked, I think, a lot like I expected him to look, which was like a true elite running back option. Algier ended
Mm-hmm.
up with 2 touchdowns. He looked like he was definitely getting enough involvement in that too. They're going to be really run heavy, and coming from an Arthur Smith offense, we knew that. And then when you look at the quarterback situation with Desmond Ritter, I don't think anyone really has a lot of confidence in him, and I don't even think the Falcons have a ton of confidence in him. And so we knew they were going to be a run heavy team. But something that shocked me coming out of this game is that Drake London, who
Mm-hmm.
I think has the potential to be an elite level wide receiver in this league. I mean, his physicality, his talent level. And then when you look at what he did last year, even as a rookie with the bad quarterback play, I mean, those were elite level numbers on a per target type of basis. He was on the field today for 90% of the offensive snaps, did not catch a pass.
Yeah, not one.
How does that happen, man? Here's my and look, I know my hot take was that Kyler Murray ends up there next year, which would be great. But look, if they're not going to use this kid, trade him to the Chiefs or something, and let this kid blossom because it's just sad. You're watching Kyle Pitts just, you know, whittle away to nothing. He's just rotting. And now you're
Yep.
looking at a talent like Drake London that's rotting too. And it's like, man, if you're going to get these talents, you got to use them. 90%, snap count and no catches. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable, Arthur Smith. Get your shit together.
Yeah, that's not great. Yeah, and I'm right there with you on Drake London and Kyle Pitts. I was watching the game with one of my friends earlier today. I was like, yeah, he's a Panthers fan. I was like, these guys need to trade away Kyle Pitts, man. Like they don't use him properly. They're not using him whatsoever. He came out of the draft and he was supposed to be the next like Travis Kelce type of a player. I haven't seen it. Even his rookie year at 1,000 yards, I was not overly impressed. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
At least he caught some passes today. All right, let's see. We'll go one more piece. What's your second take from the weekend?
Yeah, so I think I got to talk a little bit about the Eagles. For me, I was very disappointed in their offensive game plan. I was fairly impressed with the way that the defensive game plan came out. And that's just kind of in lieu of the Eagles ended up losing both their offensive and defensive coordinator to head coaching jobs this year. I thought Sean Desai, the replacement for as the defensive coordinator who came in from Seattle, I thought he did a pretty good job. He forced a turnover early, pick six. There was another fumble that was forced. So yeah, and we only gave up a total of 20 points on the defensive side. So I thought they looked pretty good. The offensive side, I was not very impressed with. I felt like all the passes were too safe and they were too underneath. And I mean, we have the players that we can really stretch that field. AJ Brown is a big body receiver. He's fast, he's athletic, he's strong. Devontae Smith proved last year that he can burn some people on some shifty moves where he can make some double moves and make some corners miss. You can hit him on a deep post or something like that. But we didn't try to go for any of that stuff. We ran the ball a ton with Kenneth Gainwell, who he didn't even average 4 yards a carry. So I don't know how much of it was weather was kind of factoring into some of this, but when you're throwing the ball 33 times, you only have 170 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and then you run the ball 25 times and you have less than 100 yards on the ground. It's not great, not ideal. So yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in the Eagles OC this year so far from game one.
Yeah, so 2 quick points, before I jump into my take, and then we'll move into Thursday night game. But how much of this is Shane Steichen? You look at him going over to Indy. That team looked better than I thought they would. I think Anthony Richardson will have his ups and downs still. But he looked way better than I thought he was going to in a debut, especially against the Jacksonville team that I said was going to a Super Bowl. That, like I said, they didn't win. I didn't think that they were going to win, but they definitely put on more of a show than I thought was going to come out of that game. Side note is I told you that they were going to Kenny Gainwell was going to lead this team in carries, and
not a good idea so far. Not a good idea so far.
and then my last little point real quick is just we'll see what they look like next week with the Eagles. Maybe it's no C thing, but you got to remember too, this is Bill Belichick and his defense, and think what you want about the Patriots. One thing that Bill does is he takes what you're good at away and he leaves you with what's left over. And I don't know, we'll see what they look like next week, but I'm not going to take a week one against Bill Belichick's Patriot defense and say, this offense is screwed. For my last point, I just got to look at who I think is a current head runner for MVP, and it's neither of the guys I put money on, but it's got to be Tua. You look at the Dolphins game. He's head to head against Herbert, and where Herbert didn't have a bad game. It definitely wasn't anywhere in the same league as what Tua was able to do. It helps when you have a guy like Tyreek Hill, who they're at the end of the game and they needed to score, and you watch a play kind of break down. He steps up in the pocket and he just throws to Tua. He's just outrunning it. Like you just can't keep up with him. But Tua 466 and 3. Tyreek Hill 215 and 2. I think all the doubters from Tua after his rookie year, you need to go away. Clearly the guy can play, especially when he has weapons around him. The question mark is going to be, the concussions and can he stay healthy? But if this guy stays on the field, he's going to be starting entering that territory people are going to start talking about as an elite level passer. And hey, man, he's coming up for a contract here soon. He was in that same era with Burrow and them and Herbert. So both those guys looking for contracts here soon. And right now he's looking like he's the one who's about to get paid. So yeah,
well, the other two are already paid. He's not paid.
Yeah, like you look at Tyreek Hill too. 11 catches, 215 and 2. It's just nuts, right? I know
Yeah.
we were talking earlier. Obviously Cooper Cup on IR, and then Justin Jefferson out there puts up 150 yards. You're like, hey, look at me. And then Tyreek goes out, drops 215 and 2, and it's like, hey man, maybe we were both wrong. And Tyreek Hill is the best one out there. So we'll see how the season progresses. But so far, maybe I should have put my money on Tua.
Yeah, I think Tua has definitely had a great day for sure. But I think a lot of it is contingent on Tyreek Hill, man. For my money, I would say Tyreek Hill should be in the lead as of today, but we all know it is a quarterback driven award.
It
So
is.
Tua probably in reality is. But for my money, right here, right now, today, Tyreek Hill is the MVP of the league as of today. Yeah, man, Tyreek Hill. I've always, I would maybe not always, I would say ever since probably his second year in the league, I've always thought Tyreek Hill from then on is the most dangerous wide receiver in the league, and I think he might be the most dangerous wide receiver in NFL history. One of the things that was popping up on the feed from Instagram this weekend, leading into the kickoff, was that fumble that happened in the Dolphins game last year, and Tyreek Hill just goes up, scoops it up, and he's just runs 50, runs around the entire offensive line, just scurries in for a 50-yard touchdown off of a fumble recovery. Just absolutely nuts the things that he can do. He's so fast, he's so explosive, and on any given Sunday, he's a problem. I mean, we've seen him go for 200 yards in a quarter for Pete's sake. So yeah, Tyreek Hill is an absolute monster.
I mean, he does things that no one else can do, but it's not just the speed. I mean, you look at a lot of these guys that come out with this ridiculous speed, and they can't run routes. They don't have good
True.
hands. Tyreek's the
Yep.
full package, and he's faster than everybody else. So that's it.
Yep.
So we'll talk about his previous team, the Chiefs Lions, 20-21. I did take the Lions to win this game going into Thursday.
Wanted to.
Yeah, feeling pretty good about it. Look, with Kelsey being ruled out, which I figured he would be, I mean, he got hurt on Tuesday. It's a smart move to sit him, even if they lose this game, because you don't want him to re-aggravate something. And it's not like they're playing on Sunday. Like we're 2 days removed from him injuring that knee. He should be fine by next week, but better to give him the week. So with him being out, Chris Jones still sitting, I said, hey, this is an opportunity for a Lions team that I think is still better than a lot of people think they are. I don't think they're true contenders, but I definitely think that they're better than a lot of teams, and a lot of people think they are. So I was willing to take that shot, and definitely paid off for me there at the end. But here was some stuff I was like, when I'm watching this game, Chiefs first drive, Chiefs first play, it's a carry, and it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Not Isaiah Pacheco?
Not Isaiah Pacheco. Nope, it was CEH. And I just thought that was very telling, because obviously he's been kind of written off. He's probably not a Chief after this year. He's not been good. Still got the first. Now, don't get me wrong, he didn't have a great day, and no Chief did. Neither did Pacheco, neither did McKinnon. But all three of those guys got touches, and CH was the first one to touch the ball. Even in the preseason, he was out there with the first team on both of their preseason games. They're not ready to just walk away from this guy and put him on a shelf and say, hey, man, we made a bad pick. Let's put him away. He got the first carry, and I was hoping he would actually perform better so I could rub it in some people's faces. He didn't, but he did get the first carry, and that was the first thing I wrote down. I was like, man, like, they're still giving it to CH. He's still the first back on this depth chart. Regardless of anything else, they're still trusting him to be out there, which may or may not have been a good idea, but
Yeah. Yeah, no, and yeah, I'm with you on the CEH stuff. I think it's kind of interesting that looks like it's gonna be very, very much a 50-50 split this year between CEH and Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco had a couple more carries, he had one more yard, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire performed much better on a per carry basis there. I don't know. I don't think Pacheco is really a long-term solution. I think he's another guy that's undersized to be a bell cow back in this league. Kid's like 5'10", like 210 pounds. And if you're going to be a running back in the league and you want to be a bell cow back, you got to be a lot bigger than that. So I'm not really surprised that Clyde Edwards-Helaire got a couple touches in that game.
no, I mean, like they were in on the Jonathan Taylor sweepstakes, there for a while. So I think they're definitely looking for a back, and they probably won't ask Patrick Mahomes this time around who he wants, because he picked wrong. I want to kind of step back a little bit and look, going into this game, I told you I took the lines. A part of it was not having Chris Jones. All right. And I think they definitely felt it on that side of the ball, not having Chris Jones. And here's some interesting facts. So Without Chris Jones on the field, they have the 28th ranked pass quarterback pressure rate. All right.
Yep.
With Chris Jones on the field, they are in the top 3 in quarterback pressures with his tenure with the Chiefs. So we're not looking at like a couple of games or like the entire time he's been with them. This is the numbers we're looking at. I mean, that's a massive, massive difference. I get that he wants to get paid, but you got to figure out a way to get this guy back because this defense that has never been great. When you have enough pressure, you don't have to be great on other parts. And now they don't have the pressure, and clearly it showed. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really weird. Like I kind of talked a little bit in my open soliloquy there earlier. Where's all this money going, man? Like I don't get it. Who's being paid on this team right now? Because Patrick Mahomes is taking a discount. Travis Kelsey is taking a discount. You didn't re-sign your left tackle. You didn't re-sign Tyreek Hill. Like where is all this money going? You've got 2 rookie contracted running backs and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Isaiah Pacheco. You got some pretty minimal money in Marquez Valdez-Scantling. You got like $10 million a year in him. You got Justin Watson, who's I think on a rookie deal. Noah Gray, who's a backup tight end. Like you got a bunch of just no-name players. Like yeah, the O-line's pretty good, but like I mean, I can't imagine that all their money is in their offensive line this year. I don't get it, man. Like, where is all their money going right now?
So they currently have almost $11.5 million in free cap space.
That's not a ton, but where is it all?
But in the mid-season, I mean, there's definitely money there that they, could use. I think probably it's not that they have $0 to spend like there are teams out there. I think that Chris Jones just wants to be paid. I mean, look at Bosa's money, right? Like he wants to get paid some like $30 million a year. And I think as much as the Chiefs might want to pay him that, like you just can't, right? And you don't want to end up being that team. Like, look at here's a team that's going to get bit. Like, look at the Cowboys. I don't know where Jerry thinks this money's coming from, or if he just forgets because he has so much money that there's a cap. But like, he keeps paying people. I'm like, dude, this guy's not even like the top 10 person on your team, and you're giving him massive like top 5 money. Like, you have to pay Parsons. You're going to have to pay CeeDee Lamb. Like, where do you think this money is going to come from to pay those dudes? Because I promise you right now, CeeDee's going to want to get paid. And I guarantee you that Parsons wants to be the top paid at his position. He's just that kind of dude. All right. So I don't know where you think all this money is going to come from unless he plans on getting rid of Dak. But outside of that, I don't know where Jerry's going to come up with the money. But yeah, I mean, like if you look at it, $11.5 million, man, like you should have some space to pay this guy. And
well, and so what's weird is it sounds like the contract dispute was reported on like Wednesday or Tuesday or something like that. That the argument is over like $9 million guaranteed over 2 years. So it's like a $4.5 million per year is like their issue that they can't come to an agreement on. And it's like, guys, Chiefs, just pay him. Like, if I'm being honest, man, like if we look at this roster, other than Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey and Chris Jones, I don't think the roster is very good. Like it's just flatly, I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs have a very good roster outside of their 3 superstars that they have right now. And if 1 or 2 of them are out, we've seen that, the Detroit Lions can beat them. Like I think the Lions are going to be a good team this year. I think that there's a chance that they make the playoffs this year. I think they've started off very well on it. This definitely isn't the Detroit Lions that we know of old, where anytime it's a close game or anytime that it's a pressure situation, they're going to lose. So clearly they're a scrappy team that's willing to fight for it. But I don't have them as a Super Bowl threat. I have them as a threat to they can win a playoff game maybe, but like for the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, who's the best quarterback in the league, to lose 20-21 against a Lions team this year, like this roster is just not that good, and they need to figure something out. They need to make some either midseason trades for wide receivers like a Mike Evans, or they need to make they need to pay Chris Jones. Like they need to do something, man, because this roster, it's not good enough to win this year, man. It's just not.
Yeah, I was looking. So they have $9 million in dead cap right now, which Frank Clark is 7.5 of that.
Okay.
Chris Jones is only due $8.8 million this year. So if he's wanting to get paid 28, I mean, again, I don't know if that's the number, but I'm saying he's going to want to be one of the higher paid guys. 20, they don't even have the money to get him to 20 right now. So I'm sure they could figure some stuff out. But sometimes with these contracts, man, I just think like you got to figure out a way to make it work, and there's a way to do it. If the different, like Chris Jones, that guy, like if you got to tell him, hey man, I'll pay an extra $2 million guaranteed versus not, so you don't cut him for one more year. Like sometimes you just got to bite it and do it to get him in. Like maybe he doesn't, a lot of this guarantee stuff, it's not even about him getting paid more per year. It's just knowing that it's like locked in. Like
Guaranteed. Yeah.
at some time, man, you just got to like, look, I'm not one for the fully guaranteed contracts, but at some point, man, you got to look at your team and go, hey, like the Chiefs are a contender, right? A top contender, I think, on a lot of people's books. At some point, you just got to bite it and say, pay it, right? Like, I get the Rams are feeling it now, but they still got a nice, shiny, heavy ring on one of their fingers. And I guarantee you they don't care,
Yep.
that they got that, So,
Yeah, and the Chiefs have two with Mahomes. Why not go out and try and get a third or a fourth right now,
they're in
man?
dynasty window right now, man.
Yeah.
Pay it and run it till the wheels fall off and figure it
Yep.
out. So, but look, I agree. Like Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. I'm watching him play, and I'm like, man, this guy is like Houdini out there. I mean, he isn't a escape. I'm watching him duck under arms and wiggle out of stuff, and he ran
Side
some.
angle
I'm
throws.
like, how is this guy not sacked like on 5 plays? I'm sitting there, I'm like, he's just so good. Like it's so fluid when he's just whoop whoop, and he's underneath two guys and up the middle, and I'm just like, man, this guy is so good. And then I'm looking at after the game, and they're like, man, Patrick Mahomes first loss. Patrick Mahomes, his first pick of the year, and I'm like, first of all, that pick shouldn't count. They come up with so
That's a
many more
Kadarius Toney pick.
they come up with so many more statistics in baseball and basketball. Like there's so much
Yeah.
more that they come up with now because it's easier to track that. Why can't we change the stuff in football? All right.
Yeah.
If a wide receiver drops a pass, that's not an incomplete, right? And even today, I'm watching. Russ goes into halftime in the Bronco game, and they say he's 8 of 10. Well, his only 2 were PIs. He didn't throw an incomplete pass, right? You engulfed his dude. Like that's not on him, but his stat numbers go down. And I get it. It will affect how we look at some older players, but at some point you got to look at it and go like, that's not Patrick Mahomes' fault, man. He didn't throw a pick in that game. He hit
Yeah.
somebody in the freaking hands who then handed the ball to someone else because they can't catch a football. Like that's not his fault. Like this
Yeah.
dude needs help. It's shocking how big Kelsey is to this team, right? And like obviously we talked about fantasy football the other week. I'm not a big fantasy guy. And in one league, I had Kelsey fall to me late, and I knew he was hurt, and I took him. And man, I've been fighting with myself over that pick since I like literally in middle draft. I pick him, and I'm like, gosh, is that really the way to go? Because it's not who I'm not a pick Travis Kelsey in the first round kind of guy. But man, was that the right call? Because when that dude is on the field, they clearly can only throw the ball to him because man, that team is bad. I'm gonna read some names to you here, Mike.
Yep.
Justin Watson, Isaiah Pacheco, Noah
Yeah.
Gray, Rashi Rice,
Yep.
I think it's Blake Bell. I don't really know. Jarek McKinnon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Justin Ross, Ricky James.
Richie James.
It is Richie James. You're right.
Sure is.
Kadarius Toney. Those are 11 players.
Yep.
All 11 of those players caught a pass
And there's a 12th player that
from
had
Mahomes.
that didn't have a catch, and Sky Moore.
Guy Moore did not catch a pass.
Yep.
He dropped a couple.
Yep.
He's supposed to be the number 2 starting receiver across from Marquez Valdez-Scantling. All right. And he didn't catch a pass.
Yep.
11 other people. I don't even know who one of these dudes, but I think it's Blake Bell. But it was B Bell on the stat sheet. But
Blake Bell.
See, how do you not catch a ball, dude? You were like a second round draft pick. Like, catch the ball.
He did have one run for 4 yards. Does that count? Does that help any?
No, I mean that's almost as bad as freaking Kadarius Toney dropping like 4 passes, handing off an interception, having 1 catch for 1 yard, and then a carry for -5. I mean, like it's absolutely pathetic, man. Like I'm looking at this, I'm like reading all these names, and I get to the bottom, it's like Sky Moore 0 catch. How do you have 0 catches, Sky Moore? Like how?
I'm going to be honest. I think in a year or two, Sky Moore is either not going to be in the league or he's going to be exclusively as a returner, because I think he is their returner still on punts. But I mean, yeah, Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney, massive disappointments last week. Massive disappointments. The fact that the leading catcher on the team was coming out of the backfield, and then a rookie had more catches, and then MVS and Justin Watson had more catches than both of you guys combined. It's an embarrassment. They really should be embarrassed.
Sky Moore won't be in the league for 2 more years. I mean, I'll be lucky if he doesn't fall down the depth chart this year and get regulated to nothingness. I mean, he didn't look good last year. He didn't look
No,
good as a rookie. He was
no.
given the opportunity this year to be the 2, and oh my god, did you fumble that shit away? I
Yep.
mean, and you know he's not going to be their returner. Kadarius Toney's a better returner. So why would you keep this dude around? To be he shouldn't even be in the league, man. You know, I'm watching them play, and I'm like the only person on that entire receiving core that I even saw a glimmer of hope for, and it wasn't a bright one, was Rashi Rice, and the guy's a rookie, right? So I think he has the opportunity to maybe build into a role and be a number 2 or be more important as he kind of grows into that more. But like he at least looked like he could find a hole in the zone for a touchdown.
Looks like a competent wide receiver.
I mean, he did this thing that seemed to be an issue for the rest of them, which was called catching the ball,
Yeah, that's a crazy concept.
which apparently is a key part of being a wide receiver, is being able to actually receive the ball in your hands.
Well,
Um, I saw people after the game comment like, "Hey, like some of these guys, their first came back, trying to gel." Some,
doesn't
you are
matter.
a fucking NFL
Does not
wide
matter.
receiver. Catch the ball. That is your one job to do. All right. And it's not like some of these were like behind the back one. Like you were hit in the hands repeatedly by the best player in the league, and you couldn't catch the ball. There's a whole reel out there of just 9 passes in a row where Patrick Mahomes hit people in the hands and
Drop.
they just didn't catch it. I mean, I'm watching. I'm like, man, this game could have been a blowout, man. And honestly, like I'm watching it, and I know I took the Lions, but I would have taken the Chiefs if Kelsey was playing. And if I think if he was playing, they definitely win that game. But I'm like, man, what is going on with this team? It's sad, man.
Yeah, it's not a good roster, man. It is not a good roster.
On the other side of the ball, which is kind of where I wanted to spend some time, because we could sit here all day and just tear up how the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs look like they don't know how to catch football, and they could literally walk into the grocery store and find someone who could play receiver better than anyone here. But you look at the Lions, and my big things were you spend the 12th pick on a guy Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, don't get
And
me started on that.
yeah, I know you got him in fantasy like all over the place. And Jahmyr Gibbs is electric, and he's
Yep.
a phenomenal receiver.
Yep.
And David Montgomery got 3 times the carries that
21-7.
Jahmyr Gibbs did. And fun fact, I don't know if you knew this or not, but on those 7 carries, Gibbs had 6 broken tackles.
Yep. Broken tackle on every single carry, basically.
3 times.
Yep.
Well, why do you think they did that? Why do you think they're giving 3 times the carries to Montgomery over Gibbs?
The
Because
only
I got a theory.
the only
But
thing I can possibly even remotely think of is that they just don't think that the rookie has learned the playbook well enough yet, and or they don't trust him yet, and so therefore they just went with the more sure-handed veteran guy. But like, I think that's a terrible excuse, man. I don't get it. Gibbs showed a lot of explosion. He showed a lot of wiggle. He showed why he was a first round pick. I'm going to be honest. I criticized the Lions for taking a first round pick as a running back because I didn't think that they needed a running back this year. The kid's very, very good. He showed every bit of why he was worth it. Why did you not use him? He showed you everything you possibly could have needed. Why did you not use him? So yeah, I need help from you because I'm gonna be on. I do not even understand this. So please try and give me something.
so I think you were all kind of on the right track there. I
Okay?
don't know if it's necessarily not trust or he doesn't know the playbook so much as he is a rookie, you know? And I think they're gonna kind of work him in. I think that he will get a lot more work as the season kind of progresses. But I think if you
I'm
look at this
hoping.
game, it was still close. The
Yep.
Lions were ahead for a lot of it, and Montgomery is definitely more of that push the piles, burn clock kind of a back. But I also think too, like they won by 1 point. It's not like the Lions were running away with this one. I think if they were, you probably see a lot more Jahmyr Gibbs. But I think it was close enough that it was one of those where like, hey, Montgomery is a seasoned veteran. He's not going to make a mistake in his first game, Thursday night, season opener under the lights against the Super Bowl champs. Maybe we just pull gives back a little bit. Let's make sure we lock this up because we know Montgomery's not going to go out there and make mistakes. And I mean, you look at the games today, and there were some rookies that did that kind of stuff, man. I'm trying to, what was it? He got the pick six today. It was in the it's Tank Bigsby, another rookie running back, right? So Trevor Lawrence is going back to pass, gets hit from behind, and the ball comes out. Not really sure what's going on. Skips off the turf. Tank Bigsby picks it up, and he's standing there holding it. And the Colts run up behind him, punch it out of his hands. DeForest Buckner picks it up, runs it back. They say, "Hey, that wasn't a forward pass; it was a fumble." And
the second fumble by Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, and then they took it from Tank and they run in and score a touchdown, right? And they're like, the rookie's going to have to learn that the NFL and how it's game and when it's stopped and when you got to play, he's going to have to learn. And I'm not saying that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to make mistakes or anything like that.
Sure.
Like the guy looks phenomenal, but there could be a reason why they held him back a little bit. Like this was a really close game. You're going to trust Montgomery not to make a mistake. And hey, man, I don't know about you, but if I'm a coach and I'm up against Patrick Mahomes and I know that, hey, I can come away this season 1-0 against Patrick Mahomes, that's going to go a long way to rah-rah with my team. And I'm going to do whatever I got to do and get the ball to whoever I got to get it to, to lock that up. So.
Yeah, and speaking of guys that you got to get the ball to, I mean, how impressive was one of your guys? I think we both like him, but how was your? I'll give him to you as your guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown, man. I mean, this kid has been so good since he's been drafted, and yeah, he was definitely one of those guys that was overlooked, probably overshadowed a little bit because of some of his size. He's not the biggest guy out there. He's like 6 foot, like 200 pounds, and that's as big as I am, right? I'm 6 foot, about 200, 205 pounds, 210 pounds, something like that. So like he's basically my size, and like I don't really look like I have the stature to be a top tier NFL wide receiver. But my God, man, Amon-Ra, like he looks like he could be a guy for the next 8 to 10 years that's going to have consistently somewhere between 90 and 110 catches a year, somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200 yards receiving, along with another 8 to 10 touchdowns a season, man. I mean, this kid just looks really, really good. Last week, he had 6 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown early to help put them up. And I think that was just, it's a case of, hey, it's early in the game. We need to get the ball to our best player. Let's get it to Amon-Ra. And, it was just from there. It was a good start.
Gotta love the sun god, man. Hey, man, I mean, he's coming into this league, there's guys that are the big play down the field, and they get a lot of it's kind of like the guys in the NBA who put up big dunks, man. Like you get all the flashy stuff, but there are the players who just they play like this guy. He's the future Keenan Allen of the league, right? Like he's gonna get 160 targets, and it's not gonna be a lot of flash, but he's gonna dominate on the heavy workload. And yeah, man, I think he played phenomenal. I think Jared Goff played good, man. I don't think he was phenomenal. I don't think he made a lot of mistakes. I think he looked, calm and collected in the pocket, which I think was good. I mean, it's a guy who was a first pick, I mean, he looked like he was up and down coming out of the Rams. Looks like he's found a spot where I think he does get a contract extension after this year. And, they aren't going to just try and move on from him. I think they're going to keep him around. I do want to touch on another Lions weapon. Let's look at Sam Laporta.
Okay.
Rookie tight ends typically don't do a lot, but man, this kid looked really clean coming out and running routes. He was definitely an effective member of the receiving corps. He did something Chiefs receivers can't do, which is he caught passes. And I think that having that weapon there, I mean, I liked some of his tape coming out, but a lot of rookie tight ends takes a couple years for them to get in. But this guy looked real seasoned. He looked really good running out of the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, whenever you take an Iowa tight end, apparently the Midwest, that is just what they do. They just breed tight ends over there in Iowa. The state of Iowa. So yeah, I mean, 5 targets, 5 catches for like 39 yards. You really can't ask for too much more out of the rookie tight end, man. So yeah, definitely had a good showing. So I was surprised with how well that the Lions draft class has done this year. Jack Campbell, what was that, first round linebacker that they took, had a huge pass breakup in the middle of that game. So yeah, Lions I was a pretty big skeptic on their draft class this year. Looks like they did pretty well.
And look, man, Aiden Hutchinson looks. I mean, he's really growing into his own. That kid is going to be a stud. So again, like I think they played really good. I think if the Chiefs could catch passes, and I think once Kelsey's back, they, people writing off Kansas City right now, you're dumb. All right, do not write off Patrick Mahomes. This team, Chris Jones is not going to be gone the entire year. I promise you
No,
that right now.
he's
Kelsey will
not.
be back, and even with this, you know, hodgepodge of people who can't catch passes, they're still going to be really, really freaking good, man. So, yeah, that's my breakdown on Thursday night. Mike, you got anything else to add?
No, I think that was pretty much it. The only other thing that kind of helped keep the Lions, I guess, keep the Chiefs in the game was that crucial Marvin Jones fumble. It was, fun fact, first ever lost fumble of Marvin Jones's career, and he did it inside like the 10-yard line there, and that helped keep the Chiefs in that game. But hey, man, it all evened out at the end. There was that pick six that went the other way for Mahomes, so kind of all evened out in the end there. But yeah, this could have been a pretty definitive statement by the Lions. Other than that one.
All right, so let's jump into kind of some upcoming carnage. However we want to look at it. So Monday night, I don't think
Mhm.
anybody cares about the Lions Cowboys tonight. So we'll go ahead and talk about
Lions are playing the Cowboys tonight.
the Giants are playing the Cowboys
There
tonight.
you go.
Did I say Lions?
I heard Lions. We'll check
I'm
the tape
looking at
later.
I'm looking at the Giants logo. Maybe I did. Let's talk Bills. Bills Jets division game, Monday
Yeah.
night football, first of the year. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but just real quick, Mike, how do you see this game going? What are you looking for when we watch this? How we feeling?
Yeah, if I'm going to be honest, as somebody that took the Dolphins as winning that division, I feel pretty good so far. But I think that the Bills are going to end up winning this game pretty definitively. I think that Aaron Rodgers is over the hill. I think that the receiving core of the Jets is a little underwhelming outside of just Garrett Wilson. Outside of that, it's just kind of meh. I do like the addition of Dalvin Cook. I think that's going to help give some time for Breece Hall to come back. So maybe the first 6 to 8 weeks, we end up seeing 70% Dalvin and 30% Breece Hall. And then as the season goes on, maybe that kind of, shifts the other way. But hey, I think it at least gives them time. But at the end of the day, I think that the Bills are just super talented. I think Josh Allen is still really good despite having some struggles last year. I know that Diggs was having some diva issues, but hey, he's still on the team and he's still a very talented player. And the defense is just top tier. So I think that that pass rush is going to cause the terrible Jets O line some problems. And yeah, I got the Bills walking away with this one pretty handily. The spread's -2 on Buffalo. I think that they easily cover that one.
Man, so maybe this is my bias coming in, but I don't agree with you in the
Really?
least. Do
Really?
not. Nope, not even a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe it's my bias in saying that the Bills don't make the playoffs.
That's true.
Maybe it's because I've watched too much Hard Knocks over the last week.
Uh-oh.
Because I've been watched a lot of Hard Knocks, but I don't think this is a cakewalk for the Bills. I don't know if I'm going to say they win or lose, but I don't think this is a cakewalk for the Bills at all. I think the Bills have some serious issues. I think that Diggs is a diva, but I still think he's going to play great. I think Josh Allen is an elite level quarterback, but I think he had some issues, especially in the red zone last year. I'm not 100% sold on this offense and its weapons outside of Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. It looks like not Dalvin Cook. He's playing his brother, right? James
Yeah.
Cook is
Yep.
really unproven in a bigger workload type of a role. I think that Gabe Davis was a massive disappointment last year. You have a rookie tight end. Um, I mean, I just don't know if I'm super locked in and sold on the weapons that this team's going to have. Is Josh Allen going to get over his red zone pick issues? I don't know. I don't know where they are without the ball. What I do know watching the Jets is, yes, Garrett Wilson, he's good, man. He is really, really good.
He's going to be a top
Uh,
10 receiver this year for sure.
the dude's phenomenal, man. Like I'm watching him run, and it's like watching Calvin Ridley run. Like these some guys
Glide.
just move different, man. And
Glide.
he moves different than other people, right? And I agree with you. Outside of him, it's a hodgepodge of dudes, right? Lazard is whatever, right? They got some rookie guys, man, whatever. They're all right. They're not gonna be great. Randall Cobb is whatever. They're tight ends or whatever. I think their running back room is really solid, man.
Yep.
I really liked the Anaconda coming out of college, man. I was kind of disappointed he went to the Jets because this dude's never going to get a chance to play behind Brees Hall, and that was before they brought in Dalvin Cook, right? But with Dalvin Cook, Brees Hall's running already, they're going to be able to run the ball really well. This defense, especially that front of that defense, is legit. The Jets defensive line, probably the second best in football. behind only the Eagles. I had to
Fair.
think about it, but they
Yeah.
might be the second best in the
It's
league.
very good. Yeah.
And they got a good secondary. It's not like it's all pass rush and nothing behind them. And I don't think that Rodgers is washed. I get he's old. I'm watching him, and it's like a new fire. And he looks reignited, man. He looks like he's happy. And I know that's
I've been
bad to
watching Hard
say. I have, man. And
Knocks.
I know it's a bad thing to say, and I'm sure that there are definitely Packers fans are pissed, but I mean, I think that relationship in Green Bay was sour for a long time, for a couple of years. And I don't think it was just about the money. I think when he got the contract last year and then Adams gets sent, I don't think that he was happy. I think he still can play. And I don't think he has a ton of time left. Maybe he's got a year or two left, but I'm watching him and like, man, he can still throw. He's still maybe one of the most accurate players, you know, and I get it's Hard Knocks, right? But I'm watching him yell at players and I'm like, kind of reminds me a little bit of Peyton, man. He's just not letting people get away with shit. I mean, that's a veteran, experienced Hall of Fame level quarterback saying, yo, that route's 15 yards, not 7. You better get your shit right. Stop dropping passes and running off sides. It's ridiculous. Like he just looks like he's fully invested in the team. I'm watching him on the sidelines talk to Zach Wilson, who I still don't think is going to be great, right? And I don't care how much camp buzz they say that he looks like he's way better. I'm still not going to buy into Zach Wilson. But you know what I do know? Rodgers is talking to the kid. I
Yeah.
see him on the sideline during preseason games going over tape. You know what he said when Jordan Love got to Green Bay? I'm
He
not helping.
basically said, he's like, that's
I'm
not my
not,
job.
I'm not helping that dude. So this seems to me like a guy he's re-energized, he's reinvested, he's hanging out with his best friend, Coach Hackett, and I don't know, man. I'm not buying the Jets as a Super Bowl contender like a lot of other people are, but I don't think they're going to lay down and die. I think some of the hype is real, definitely not all of it. But this is definitely not going to be a walk in the park cakewalk for a Bills team that's lost some of their defense and has some question marks on the offensive side of the ball. We've saw what it looked like, in Kansas City. You can have a superstar quarterback, but if you don't got some other pieces, things can turn ugly. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's still gonna be won and lost in the trenches. I think that the Bills D line stacks up way better against the Jets O line rather than the Bills O line to the Jets D line.
I think what's going to happen is I'm going to have to find something that we can bet, and I'm going to get back to everybody. So we won't boo it this week on this game, but I feel that there's going to be more of these disagreements, and maybe it'll be something like I'll make you wear a nice pink afro wig for an entire
You know what?
episode.
It could be worse. At least you're not buying me a Cowboys jersey to have me wear that on, the
Yeah, we
internet
could do
for
that too.
everyone to see for forever, which that would make me just vomit. So glad that's not on the table at the moment.
We'll put some thought into this. Because I'm sure there's going to be some more disagreements like this, and we'll put some wagers on the table for some of these disagreements, and we'll see
Right?
who can win it. But yeah, I'm excited. We'll see how Monday night goes. I'm sure we'll chat a little bit about it when we talk to you guys next week. But I was going to wrap up our take on Week 1 of the NFL. As always, before we leave, we're going to play a little test Mike's brain. Mike, how you feeling today? You feeling smart? Feeling on top of it?
I'm definitely not feeling smart. I definitely think I have a lot of adrenaline running through me through that Eagles game, man. That fourth and whatever that was, 11, 12, 15, whatever it was, and it was a barely missing by the toe tap, has me having a bunch of adrenaline running through me right now. So I don't know how many smarticles I have in my brain today, but I'm going to give it my best shot, and I'm still confident that I'm going to get this.
I love it. I'm looking at him like Mike is clearly the brains of our outfit here. He knows the stats. He got the numbers. I just argue and have hot takes about really crazy stuff, and that's kind of the reason that I'm here because it's not my brain.
But hey, man, I
Um,
use the word
hey,
smarticles. So
hey, I just have that. I just come up with really ridiculous stuff and argue a lot. All right, Mike. What color card are we picking today?
what color? What are our options again?
Green, yellow, blue, and reddish.
What is the blue one?
Colleges.
Let's go with the colleges.
Okay, we'll go with this one today. We get two of them lined up. We'll go with this one. All right. Should be easy for you.
So
Wide
this is 2020's 2020's roster, not 2023. I'm sorry, this is
2023. This is their current roster.
So this is today. Got it.
Current roster. All right.
Okay.
both wide, 1 and 2 wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, and running back. What college they played at?
Okay.
Wide receiver 1,
Uh-huh.
Ohio State.
Oh, Christ.
Tight end, Tennessee.
Okay.
Wide receiver 2, Ohio State.
Oh, Jesus. They're both from Ohio State. This could be
Run
anybody.
running back, Tennessee.
Oh my God. Okay. So far, I'm thinking the Saints. So let's keep
It's a
going.
very Tennessee Ohio State heavy team. And quarterback, California State University of Fresno.
Okay. All right. So good news, guys. I do know this. This is definitely the Saints. Kamara went to Tennessee. The wide receivers, Olave and Michael Thomas went there. And Fresno State is certainly the only Fresno State's NFL quarterbacks I can think of are both of the Carr brothers. So, yeah, this is the New Orleans Saints. I think that you were trying to throw me a little bit there with the Alvin Kamara suspension, but I think we're good.
Yeah, I figured the quarterback would be the one because, again, I mean, Fresno's. I mean, how many people go there? I thought 2 Ohio State wide because there are a lot of Ohio State wide receivers, but there are not a lot that have 2. And I was like, maybe he forgets that Michael Thomas went to Ohio State and he's still actually
or maybe he forgets that Michael Thomas is even a player because Michael Thomas has played like 3 games in 4 years.
But yes, you are correct. It is the New Orleans Saints. So we'll give you another W there. Let me go ahead and mark it on the back of the card here. Boom. Mike gets the point there. I'll make sure I get these tallied up for you and keep our running total going. So congratulations, Mike. He gets another one correct. Hopefully I can come up with some more that stump you here in the future. Eventually we'll run out of teams.
We'll figure out other things to do.
But as always, guys, thanks for joining us today. Definitely had a good time. Super excited for football. Hopefully you guys are too. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.